Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome back. Today we have a number of headlines related to Bible prophecy that we're going to cover, so let's dive right in. So the first one I'd like to bring your attention today is about Iran. And it says, Khomeini advisor says Tehran capable of building nuclear bomb. Tehran will also directly respond against Israel should its security be targeted, the report says, citing the advisor. We scroll down, we read, Tehran is technically capable of making a nuclear bomb but has yet to decide whether to build it. And I guess here they're quoting this supreme leader, but make no mistake about it, the entire purpose of Iran's nuclear program is to build a bomb so that they can use it against Israel. They've made that clear from day one. And it says Tehran will also directly respond against Israel should its security be targeted, the report says, citing the advisor. So in recent years, when Israel has been confronted with this idea, they've said, we will not tolerate a nuclear-armed Iran. They see it as an existential threat, and they've claimed they will not let it happen. So something's going to have to give here. Either if Iran develops this nuclear bomb, is Israel going to strike against them? And what are the prophetic implications of this? So is there any significance within the Bible to maybe an Iranian-Israeli war over this nuclear bomb? I'm not necessarily sure that there's a direct link to it, but if we go to Psalm 83:4, we read, Come, they say, let us wipe out Israel as a nation. We will destroy the very memory of its existence. This is in reference to Israel's enemies, and this is definitely the stance that Iran has toward Israel, and they've made that clear in the past. Now, beyond that, I don't think there's anywhere, unless I'm missing it in the Bible, that points out a specific Israeli-Iranian war that takes place. Now, there is the Gog of Magog war in which Iran is involved, but the Bible makes it clear that the reason that Russia and its allies launched that invasion is to take plunder, not to defend Iran against a strike by Israel. So I don't think that this is going to necessarily lead directly to Gog of Magog. It may have a role in it. We'll have to wait and see. Another possibility is that it could lead to the fulfillment of Isaiah 17. Now, this is concerning the destruction of Damascus, and there are a lot of people who study the Bible who think that this prophecy's already been fulfilled, that there is no future fulfillment of this, and that's fine, that's their belief. I've studied this, and I believe that this points to something in the future, an event in the future, where the city of Damascus will disappear. It will become a heap of ruins. Depending on the translation you look at, it says Damascus will discontinue being a city. It will no longer be inhabited. And Damascus is the longest continuously inhabited city on the planet. So I take that as this is not fulfilled yet. So if we read through this, we find out that there are fortified towns of Israel that will also be destroyed. So could there be a link to this where maybe Iran builds a bomb, provides it to Hezbollah to put on a warhead to launch into Israel, or maybe they somehow bring that nuclear bomb into Israel and set it off, and then the response from Israel is to wipe Damascus from the face of the earth? All of that is speculation at this point, but this is definitely an event that we want to keep our eyes on to see if there is prophetic significance, to see if war does break out between Israel and Iran over this bomb. So I really don't know right now. I'm sort of waiting to see what else develops in this regard. So what do you think? Use the comments below to let me know what you think about this. So our next article that I want to focus on is from Zero Hedge. It says, Erdogan warns Turkey can freeze Finland, Sweden NATO bids at any time. Now, this should come as no surprise. Turkey is definitely working with Russia. That's part of what we see with the Gog of Magog alliance forming. And keep in mind, Ukraine was one of the largest providers of grain to Turkey. So Turkey is dependent on, or was dependent on Ukraine for much of their food supply. Now they're going to be dependent on Russia for that food supply. And Vladimir Putin knew that when he invaded Ukraine. It was probably part of his purpose in doing that was to try to peel Turkey off of NATO, because he's already been working for the last decade plus on doing that. Slowly, Turkey has moved into collaboration with Russia on a number of issues, and this is just one more where they can put that leverage on Turkey. Hey, we'll supply you with arms, and we'll supply you with food, and we'll cooperate on issues in Syria that are of concern to you, and in exchange you push back against NATO in regard to Finland and Sweden joining NATO. So again, this was all about power when Putin invaded Ukraine. We discussed that a few videos back. And along those lines, we have this article in the Washington Post which says Ukraine's farmers become the latest target of Russian missiles. The fields are burning, the farmer yelled in panic. He had been just days away from starting the harvest, but the Russian shelling came first, despite his modest farm's distance from Ukraine's southern front. Now, if you remember, we covered a Putin article in the past where it said something along the lines of, model criticizes Putin, ends up dead in suitcase, and so they're trying to connect those two. And then you read down in the article and you find out, well, it's not really connected. And I think we've got a little bit of that going on here, because we have this sentence early on where it says, despite his modest farm's distance from Ukraine's southern front. Then I read down a little bit further, and it says, they must now choose between harvesting near an active front line or abandoning their crop. So to read the first part of this article, you would think that Russia is deliberately targeting Ukrainian farms and trying to wipe them out, set them on fire, destroy the food supply. But then you read down further and you find out that this farm and some of the others are near active front lines. So these are probably unintentional fires that are taking place just because these farms are near the front line. Again, I'm not saying that Putin is good or anything like that, but his purpose, and one of his purposes of invading Ukraine to begin with, is to take possession of Ukraine's agricultural commodities. That gives him power over other nations like Turkey, like Sri Lanka, like Pakistan, countries all around the globe that are net importers of food, who have large populations that maybe are on the lower socioeconomic scale, and so they can't compete on the international market when it comes to the higher prices we're going to see as we go into late 2022 and early 2023. We're going to see prices for food go up even more than what we've seen so far. And so the wealthier nations are going to win those bids in the international marketplace. And countries like Turkey and Sri Lanka and others, they're going to be turning to Russia for help. And Russia's help is not going to come free. They're going to demand certain things. They're going to demand that they basically become vassals of Vladimir Putin. So again, I think these are probably incidental fires. Putin's going to want that grain because it gives him power. Next article we have here is called New Dystopian Law Would Give All Social Media Users a Truth Score, right? So we read, in another manifestation of the onerous social credit score system, an amendment to a bill in the United Kingdom would mandate all social media users be given a truth score that predetermines the accuracy of their post. I mean, this is right out of George Orwell, 1984. This is going to be a component of the social credit score that they have in China that they're trying to roll out to the rest of the world. And this is part of the future Antichrist, his system that he's going to have at his disposal, is this big tech, big brother censorship system that watches over every detail of your life. And if you're not compliant, then as Revelation 13:17 says, you're going to be cut off from all buying and selling, because he is going to have control over the entire global financial system. So you'll either comply or you won't eat. Next, I want to go back and look at this video from a couple of days ago. Is Europe on the verge of catastrophe? And I want to go back down in the comments, and I want to recognize this one here from John Evanson. John said, "Time to come out of the closet, Britt." I thought that was funny. Yes, as you've noticed, these videos are being produced in a closet. We had 3 kids at home. The youngest one just turned 3 last week. I figured you guys wouldn't want them running around in the background during the course of these videos. So for right now, the best I have is this closet, and I'm thankful that God has provided this closet so that I can do these videos. Our family's building a house right now, so in early 2023, if we're still here, and I'm beginning to wonder if we will be, but God willing, if that time comes, I'll have a dedicated office and a studio, and hopefully I can put up a much better background for you guys to look at than a closet and, you know, these old closet rod that I took out. So guys, thanks for watching. Make sure to like this video, share this video, and God willing, we'll meet again. Bye. If you want to learn more about the end times and Bible prophecy, make sure to sign up for my free monthly newsletter and get your copy of my free ebook, 7 Signs of the End Times. Just follow the link in the description to get your free book. Also, make sure to check out all of my books. Just look up Britt on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Google Books, Kobo, or anywhere books are sold. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith.